here in the battleground state of Florida, Florida, Florida. I had my little board out just to play around here. Guess what, guys? 269 minus 11 to 269, a deadlock.
The great Tim Russert. Hard to believe next month it will be 15 years since we lost our dear colleague and friend Tim Russert after he suffered a heart attack preparing for Meet the Press in our Washington bureau. He was just 58 years old. His son Luke was only 22 years old at the time and just out of college. Without time to fully grieve, Luke began his own career at NBC News, starting as a young reporter and eventually a Capitol Hill correspondent. But in 2016, at the height of the presidential campaign, Luke left it all behind as he set off to finally face his loss. He spent months visiting more than 60 countries trying to find his own path. And now he's sharing his experiences in the new memoir, Look for Me There. And our good friend Luke Russert joins us now. Also with us for this conversation, Mike Barnicle, who's known Luke, I think, since the day he was born.
That's
great
true.
to have you both here. Luke, congratulations on the book. So tell us about this journey. I mean, you were sort of thrust into this world along with us right after your father died. I remember during the 2008 presidential campaign at those conventions being with you, and you were kind of pushed out there and said, go do it at a very young age, and really didn't have time to grapple with what had just happened in the hole that had been left in your life. So tell us about this journey you took to find it.
Well, that's right, Willie. I think you're talking about where it started, which was 22-year-old Luke, that young kid who had such a desire to try and preserve his dad's legacy because he thought that's what he had to do. He thought that was his duty. And in the process of doing that, was never really able to grieve himself and understand really what that loss of his father was going to mean for him personally. It was a very interesting time because I was so outward facing and I was trying to shoulder this load and shoulder this responsibility of, okay, this is something that my father would want to happen. He would want me to be out there to try and preserve his name, but also the values that he found to be so important in journalism, which was asking the tough questions, accountability. You know, the thing he used to like to say is, if you can't answer tough questions, how are you going to make tough decisions? So I wanted to be around. I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to keep his legacy alive, keep that flame going. But that became a real burden that I didn't really process until years later, till about 2016, and I decided I need some time away, and that ended up actually being a huge blessing because in that process, away from Washington, away from politics and the day-to-day of Capitol Hill, even though I really enjoyed parts of it, I was anxious and I needed to get out of it to really know who I was, independent of my family and my hometown.
So, Luke, Friday the 13th, June 13th, 2008, you're in Rome with your mother.
Florence, yeah.
You just graduated from Boston College.
Yeah.
Your father dies in Washington, D.C. So we're 15 years later now in this journey you've been on. What have you learned about yourself in those 15 years?
Well, I think one of the things about travel is that you become more comfortable in uncertainty. And after my father passed away, I was so uncomfortable in uncertainty. I would wake up in the middle of the night sometimes thinking, oh gosh, am I going to die of a heart attack later today? I would constantly think about him and go, I just wish I had a few more minutes to talk to him. And over time, what I found was, you know what? He was my biggest booster. He was my best friend. And more than anything, he would want me to do what makes me happy, but also comfortable. The last thing Tim Russert would ever ask me to do, the last thing Dad would ever ask me to do, is to white knuckle through things that would bring me some sort of pain, some sort of anguish, right? And it took me so long to figure that out. Because he would say, go be you. Grandpa was a garbage man. He worked those two jobs for 40 years. I worked my butt off. Pass it on to the next generation and pursue the dreams that make you happy, but don't think that you have to do something for me. And it took me a long time to figure that out. But when that moment happened, and for me, it actually ended up happening in the Holy Land of all places. Wow. It was eye-opening, and it brought me it got me to such a place of peace. And I wish it had happened earlier, but you know what? I think the good Lord works in mysterious ways, and shouldering that burden for a while was actually probably something I had to do, and I came out better for it.
And a part of the journey that's got you right here, Luke. Tell me about the title,
Okay.
Look for Me There, a very intriguing title. Where did you get it?
So, Joe, you're a great dad. When I would go to baseball games, or I'd go to a rock concert, or I would go somewhere, my father used to always say, hey, I'm going to be there if we get separated. Look for me there. And this actually comes from, I was 9 years old, and we were at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, and it was a hot, humid day, and he was holding my hand, and a big crowd of people came through in the concourse, so we got separated. And I was a little bit nervous as a young kid, but I never lost sight of him. And he came running back to me, and he grabbed my hand, and he said, buddy, if we're ever separated, look for me there. And he pointed at a hot dog stand with that big old Oriole bird logo. And he then pulls me in and he goes, but we'll never be separated. Oh. And I've always just thought about that. And there's a coffee shop at the DCA airport where he used to pick me up when I would come home from Boston College, and they would always say, look for me there. And to this day, when I get off a flight, that coffee shop is still there. I swear, I see the man, I see the hunched shoulders, I see the jowl about to smile, and that's where it is. And part of the book was looking for something, and that's why it just fits.
You know, I remember after my dad passed away, Tom Brokaw told me a couple weeks later when he noticed I was a little more quiet around set than I guess he was used to. He said, he took me aside and he said, you know, Joe, I'm with my dad, and my dad's with me every day. I talk to him every day, and he's there. And you know, it was hard for me to listen to at first, and it was a tough journey. But you know, it's gotten to a point now where it's funny. The further I get away from it, the more I feel my parents' presence, and I do every day. They're with me every day. I'm curious, are you there? Is your dad with you as you're walking through the Holy Land, as you're walking across the world?
Absolutely. Joe, you remember when my father passed away at the Kennedy Center service afterwards, we played Somewhere Over the Rainbow when everybody was leaving the building. And then, miraculously, there was a rainbow over Washington, D.C. So whenever I would be in these sometimes tough places of discomfort when I was traveling, not knowing if this was the right thing to do. Am I just trying to run away from something? Am I just trying to escape something? And in New Zealand, I was having a tough day. I saw a rainbow. On the 10th anniversary of my father's death, there was a lot of stuff going on in the media about remembering him, and I didn't want to be a part of it. I kind of ran away from that. I was in Iceland, waterfall, beautiful rainbow. And it's just one of those things where I look up and I see that rainbow, I go, that's Dad saying hi. So I talk to him every day. I get into a meditative state to try and think about how he would sound at a given moment, what advice he would give me. And I'd like to say I'm a work in progress, but as it pertains to him, oh my gosh, there's such a place of joy now. And I just, I carry him, and he's right by my side.
All right, Luke, thank you so much for being with us. The new book is titled Look for Me There.
Nice
Luke
work,
Russert,
Luke.
Thank you so much, guys. We love you too.
Very proud.
So much for coming here. And
Thank you.
Luke, go Bills.
Go Bills. A Dolphins fan
baby.
said it. Oh, wow. I love you.
Go Bills. Go Bills. Thank you
Really
so
well
much,
done.
Luke.
Go Bills.
All right.
As we get to the top of the hour, Mike, I just want to circle back to you for a second. I'm not going to even ask what Tim would think about where the media is right now, where politics is right now. It's just to put people in that time frame when you lost your best friend, when Luke lost his father. It was in the middle of the 2008 campaign. It was even before Barack Obama was elected president of the United States. You know, I'm an optimist. I am an optimist, and I think America's greatest days are ahead. But let me just say, what a horrible 15 years politically this has been since Tim's passing. What would Tim think about where we are today?
Boy, I think he would think the same thing that we think, Joe. It's so incredibly depressing. Our politics, the tone of our politics, the media coverage of our politics. That's in the morning of the New Hampshire primary in 2008, I believe. Morning Joe was in its infancy, and Timmy Timmy was right there. That was a great morning, a lot of fun. He had fun covering politics. He was excited, very much excited about Barack Obama's candidacy when he died in June of 2008. He would be excited about politics today, but he would be, I think, again, like us, the way we view it, as a business that has changed drastically, as has the media changed drastically. I mean, the impact of the internet on the media, the impact of filing online during the course of a day, a long day, filing stories at 1 o'clock in the afternoon that you would originally, years ago, take time to think about and file at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. It's all different. That world, the landscape of our world, our joint worlds, politics and the media, has drastically changed in the last 15 years since Tim died.
All right.